Hello students, today we are going to do conditional sentences. A condition is a situation or circumstance. हिंदी में हम इसे शर्त भी कहते हैं. If we want a desired outcome, there is a condition which we have to fulfill. अगर हम कोई इच्छुक परिणाम चाहते हैं तो उससे पहले हमें एक शर्त पूरी करनी होती है जिससे कि हम हमारा इच्छुक परिणाम पा सकें. To understand conditionals, first we will quickly go through and revise clauses. You are familiar with the clauses. A clause is a subdivision of a sentence containing a subject and a predicate, but which is part of a larger sentence. A sentence may have more than one clause. Number one, independent clause. An independent clause is a complete sentence and stands by itself. It contains a subject and verb and expresses a complete thought in both context and meaning. It is also known as principal clause or main clause. Dependent clause, the other clause which cannot stand by itself and cannot make a good sense and depend on the independent clause for its meaning, is called dependent clause or subordinate clause. Subordinate clause is always introduced by subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunctions are like that, what, whatever, which, who, whom, how, when, etc. In this example, we see in the sentence, I went to the place where she lived. Now in this sentence, I went to the place is a main clause or independent clause or principal clause. She lived is a subordinate clause, and before this subordinate clause, we have introduced the subordinating condition, that is where. So it is clear that subordinate clause is always introduced by subordinating conjunction, and that makes it easy to identify the independent clause or the dependent clause in sentence. We can see another example. She will certainly help you. She can. Again, she will certainly help you if she can. Now, we can easily identify that if she can is a subordinate clause because subordinating conjunction if is introduced before she can, that is subordinate clause, and the other one, she will certainly help you, is the main or independent clause. The third type of clause is coordinate clause. When a sentence contains more than one clause of equal rank and usually joined by coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions are like and, both and, either or, neither nor, etc. Now, conditional sentences are also known as conditional clauses or if clauses. If clauses is the subordinate clause or any conditional of any conditional sentence, as we have seen in the last slide. Sentences with if are used to express possibilities. The conditionals are used to talk about real or unreal situations, circumstances. Real conditional describes real life situations. Unreal conditional describes unreal and imaginary situations. If the structure is if clause and main clause, if clause expresses condition and main clause expresses result. If the main clause comes first, it expresses result, and if clause is condition. If clause can be used at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. If clause used at the beginning is usually followed by comma. There are four basic conditionals that we use in English. First conditional, second, third, and zero conditional. First conditional, it is also known as likely condition or probable condition. Second is unlikely or impossible. And third is impossible and imaginary condition. And the last one is certain and zero condition. First condition, likely or probable condition, it is also known as type 1 condition. This usually refers to a future event which is conditional on another future event as well as about the consequences of the possible action if a certain condition is fulfilled. There is a possibility of the desired outcome in first condition. For example, in the sentence, if I study hard, I will get good marks in my exam. Now, the result is good marks in the exam and the condition is to study hard. So, if we fulfill the condition of studying hard, we will definitely get the good marks in an exam. Now, the structure of likely or probable condition is if plus present simple. That means in subordinate clause, if is a subordinating conjunction, and in the subordinate clause we use simple present tense, and in the main clause it is will plus first form of the verb, can plus first form of the verb, must plus first form of the verb, and imperative form. There is 50% possibility of fulfilling the condition, and if we fulfill the condition, there is 100% certainty of our desired outcome. I hope this condition is clear to you. There are certain example. I used different colors to make it clear. Subordinating conjunction is marked by if by green color, subordinate clause by red, and main clause by black. If you eat too much, you will get fat. Now, if is a subordinating conjunction, if you eat too much, that is subordinate clause, and you will get fat is main clause or principal clause. In the next sentence again, if you drop it, it will break. If is subordinating conjunction, if you drop it is subordinate clause, it will break is main clause. Now, what does this sentence convey? If you drop it, it will break. If you won't drop it, it won't break. They will get wet if it rains. Now, they will only get wet if it rains. If it won't rain, they won't get wet. So, there is probability of certain outcome. If he runs, he will get there in time. You will hurt yourself. This is main clause. If is subordinating conjunction, you are not careful. Now, if you are not careful is subordinate clause, and you will hurt yourself is main clause. In the last sentence, if again is subordinating conjunction, you send this letter now. Now, if you send this letter now is subordinate clause, and she will receive it tomorrow is main clause. I hope it is clear to you. There are certain sentences. I hope it is you are able to do these sentences. The rest of the conditions we will do in the next lecture. Thank you.